Welcome everyone to our second ever Sims Machinima and Animation Convention, also known as SMAC for short. I am one of your hosts at Flx Pictures, also known as Kyle, and I am joined again with Simsberrry, aka Bree.
Last year, we wanted to create a new inclusive, non-competitive event that would also give directors, animators, and voice actors the opportunity to show their progress and interact with their audience. We are so happy that last year was a success, and this year we got twice as many submissions, leading to a longer weekend.
And maybe next year, we'll maybe need a whole week.
This year's SMAC is separated into 3 days, so make sure to come back tomorrow and the day after to catch all your favorites.
Day 1 includes all the drama and tea you could possibly wish for. We got betrayals, love triangles, classic, unplanned pregnancies, and murder.
Joining us today are 7 directors and 2 voice actors, and the first of our 4 animation panels. Just like last year, you'll also be able to catch trailers and previews during our commercial breaks.
So, without more delay, let's get right into it with SOVASIMS animation panel.
Hello, it's SOVASIMS. If you don't know me, I'm a Sims 4 animator from Argentina, and I'm going to answer some of the questions I received. You're an animator, but also a director. Which came first? And how did you first get started? I started as a director like 10 years ago in the Hispanic side of the Sims community, because of course I speak Spanish. To be honest, I knew nothing about making machinimas. Still, I made a weird and low quality video that I shared on YouTube and also attempt to create a series, but it was also weird, low quality, and scenes weren't even created by me. When I got the Sims 3, I tried to make a series with it, but the animations from the Sims 2 and the Sims 3 were completely different. So I searched for tutorials on how to create my own animations and made them, but of course, they were awful. I practiced and shared some of the animations I made on YouTube. You can still find 1 or 2 of them on my channel. Then I quit for a long time and started working on animations again during the pandemic in 2020, and I haven't stopped since then. First, I'm such a big fan. What advice can you give to those who are just starting out with making animations using Sims 4 and Blender? Are there any secrets on how to improve? Thank you, and this is something I say a ton. Practice. Not necessarily every day, but practice all you need until you're happy with how your animations look. Then you'll notice that you're never going to like them and will work even more on them, and without noticing, you'll improve. Your animations will always depend on what you want to do. If you want to make realistic animations, you better watch in real life shows. If you want to make cartoon animations, watch cartoons. If you want anime style animations, watch anime. Or better, record yourself acting and use it as a reference. My not so secret is watch my own moments and also ask people to help me until I realize how I should make the animation. What I love the most about your animations are how realistic they are, especially the tiny details such as breathing, body shifts, and gait. Can you give us an insight on the process or your thoughts behind this? Thank you! The process of these details started being ugly and remained ugly for a very long time until I realized that we, in real life, don't actually breathe like I used to animate. As I mentioned in the past question, I realized how things should be done by acting myself, looking at the mirror and concentrating on my own movements. What happens when I breathe? What muscles are moving? Which bones? What's going on inside my head? Sorry, I had to say it. Jokes aside, this is actually what happens when I sit in front of my computer and start working on my animations. How do you do your talking animations, including the mouth, jaw movements? Isn't it very tedious? In the past, making the talking animations were the hardest part of animating, because animating each bone of the 9 bones you need to move to create a nice smooth movement was a pain in the ass. But then Flx Factory released custom rigs that included custom movements, which made the process easier. But after trying them for a bit, I felt uncomfortable because I was used to the move movements I used to create for my talk animations, so I decided to mix both of them. At the end, I made my own library with my own movement that I can use whenever I want, and it definitely made the process easier and faster. What tips do you have for people starting out with animation, rigging/posing? I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't do rigging. I mentioned before that I use a custom rig created by Flowers in Factory that I've been editing since it was released, modifying, for example, hand movements, arms, mouth movements, and more. If you're new with Blender and Sims rigs, you probably will find it very difficult to start with custom rigs since they could move weirdly if you don't know how to do it right. So my advice is using the default rig, the one that you find in Simsberrry Studio, and start to play around with it. Watch a full of tutorials. Each of them will teach you almost the same, but not the same. Another tip, don't compare your work with anyone. Your first animations will be always ugly. Look at mine, they were so slow, so awful, but I think I got better. That's another tip, practice. Make animations for yourself. Simple animations. Don't complicate them. Make them easier. Make them from the bust and above. Don't move the legs. Test it in your game. You don't like it? Fine. Remake it until you do. But don't give up. If you give up, you'll never improve. What is your favorite animation you've made so far? I have a lot of animations that I made that are my favorites, but if I have to choose which one I love the most, it's animation pack number 36. Because the end result is exactly what I wanted, and I'm very proud of it. I also use my Sims Roma, and she's lovely and definitely one of my favorite Sims. Do you find hard to balance between animating, filming, and writing? Yes, I find it really hard to have balance because I'm a procrastinator. I work 40% in animating, 5% in filming, 5% in writing, and 50% stressing about it. I'm not good at finding a balance. I'm always collapsing. Do you find it easier to make animations for your own projects? Why or why not? I hate making animations for my own projects because I focus a lot on animations, and most of the time I got stressed about it because I want to make animations for each scene I write, or when I'm writing I'm always thinking, oh, I don't have that animations, I have to make one. But then I got tired and stressed because, God, why do I have to make an animation? I think the hardest part of being a machinima director is that I'm also an animator because most of the time I have to force myself to use animations that I already have in my game instead of creating more and more animations that probably only work for me and the scene I wrote. As an animator who creates custom animations for Sims directors, your work is vital in bringing their visions to life. You carry the community on your back. Can you share the most challenging or unusual animation request you ever received from a Sims director and how you tackle the creative and technical aspects to deliver the perfect animation for the project? Thank you so much! We work hard to help others, and I'm sure the other animators enjoy doing it as much as me. Well, if I have to think about the most challenging animation, it was definitely a big pack that someone requested time ago where I had to create plus 30 animations for the show, and it included props like doors, keys, cars, a lot of complex movements that I needed to look for a lot of references to make them look good because I didn't want them to be awful, but well, at the end it was cancelled. Please don't do that. As an animator, what is something you wish more machinima directors will know about your work? And do you feel the contribution of animators towards machinima is underrated sometimes? Not to sound mean, but I really wish some directors will be conscious that making animations is really hard and time-consuming. It's not like I click my fingers and the animations are done by themselves, which I wish it was like that. And to be honest, I think more and more people have started to realize that animations are pretty important in a machinima. Of course, no more than the plot, but no, I don't think it's underrated. Maybe in the past it was, but not anymore. People are thankful, and most of the time they leave nice comments or tag me or other animators, and that's really nice for us. Would you ever consider animation for Sims 2? As much as I love The Sims 2, I'll never animate for it. I don't even play The Sims 2 anymore, so I'm sorry, but it's a no for me. And that was all. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for submitting your questions. It was an honor to me to answer them. See you next time.
We'll be right back after the break.
Coming up, Rabbit Films. And after, Winter Sims.
Do you think at a certain point we all just sink into the ground and are never heard from again? Fuck, your hands are warm. I guess I just never noticed.
I keep one in the chamber, I keep one for myself. I'll keep one in your picture so I'll see you in hell. I just damaged my liver, baby, you think you can help? I keep going a liquor, you keep wishing me well. Would it kill you just to smile? At least once in a while. Leave your fucking town. Live just in the now. Baby, I got a fever. I'm not feeling too well. I'm so under the weather. I'm so under your spell. I got one in the chamber. I got one for myself. I got one in your picture, so I'll see you in hell.
Do you think it's gonna be like this forever? It feels like forever.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Rabbit Films, and I've got to say I've been having such a blast with SMAC this year. Today we're going to go over some questions you guys have for me about my series and directing in general. So without further ado, let's crack into this. What anime inspired you to make a show called This Is Not an Anime? Actually, the show is initially inspired by a meme I saw at the time about a main character who doesn't want to be the main character. And they just spend their whole life avoiding being too perfect or too clumsy, and I thought it would be a really fun series to try and write. Granted, it's changed a lot over the years, but the core story is still the same. Some other media that has played a part in inspiring the series has been the animes Maid-sama and Fruit Baskets, as well as one of my favorite mangas, Monkey High. In fact, the scene where Kyo falls in the river helping Arbor is loosely based off of a chapter in Monkey High, where the male lead jumps into a creek to catch the female lead's hat after it blew off. I highly recommend reading that manga if you haven't already. It is such a cute story, and I love it so much. Who is your favorite character to write for? My favorite character to write for is definitely Robin. I just never have to think that hard about what he's going to say. He just speaks. I especially love writing his dynamic with Arbor because the two just do nothing but bicker, and it's very reminiscent of my relationships with close friends. The scene in episode 4 where the two are watching Ruby is directly based off of a conversation I had with my friend Argo at the time, after he spent a good week trying to convince me to watch the show with him. Can you tell us more about your upcoming projects? I have quite a few upcoming projects in the works, but I can never fully decide which one to work on. I am finally wrapping up writing on a new series called Grey that follows this boy named Logan who is struggling to move on after the death of a close family member. I will say that Grey will probably be my last series for a while, as all of my planned projects after it are movies. I do also plan on eventually turning the graphic novel Dramacon into a trilogy of movies. If you remember my music video called Distance, it will be the full 3-part story brought to life using Sims. I'm about halfway through writing out the first film, but I won't be casting voice actors until after the third and final film is finalized. What is your go-to remedy for writers and/or filmers block? I tend to go back to the media that inspired me to write in the first place. So for example, one of the movies I've been working on is based off of Where the Wild Things Are, and whenever I start to get stuck in the writing process, I go back and rewatch the film. I've also gotten into the habit of making playlists for my projects and listening to them while I'm at work. That way I can still plot scenes in my head and then write them all down when I get home. For filmer's block, I personally like to watch other people film their series. Nothing is more inspiring to me than watching someone bring their creations to life, and it makes me want to get off my ass and film too. If you could merge your series with any sim series currently ongoing, finished, or discontinued, which would you choose and why? I would honestly merge my series with Soup. The pure chaotic humor that SimFlim was able to convey is energy that I strive to be able to write one day. I miss Lee so much and wish her all of the best wishes. What's your favorite part of machinima making? What's your least favorite? My favorite part is watching something I wrote slowly come to life and eventually be completed. I know I take forever to finish my episodes, but it's always so satisfying to finally see the scenes that have been playing in my head for months, if not years, come to life. My least favorite is audio editing. I always save that for last and then forget to go back and do it anyway. I don't like having to spend hours hunting down specific sound effects just for them to not even fit the scene anyway. How many episodes are planned for the show? Is there a season 2 in the works? If all goes well, there will be roughly 10 episodes of This Is Not an Anime, give or take. And while I do have some ideas for a season 2, none of them are enough to justifiably make a second season. Maybe a bonus episode when the series is completed, but I don't want to make any promises on that. I have also been wanting to expand my writing to different genres like fantasy and horror. So once This Is Not an Anime is completed, I'm going to put more focus on those projects instead. What happened to When Autumn Leaves Fall? Are you still working on that? How close are you to finishing it? I have a love-hate relationship with When Autumn Leaves Fall. As much as I still love the story, I feel like my writing has developed so much since first writing the film that I almost feel embarrassed going back and reading the script. There are also moments that I no longer like, but are hard to film around due to how I wrote the scenes. I do still want to finish it, but it is no longer, and if I'm being completely honest, hasn't been a priority to me for a long time. I have considered rewriting the script, but at the same time, I want to wait until it's completed before trying to remaster it, so I can see just how much my skills have grown since first starting the project in 2016. The Sims Machinima community is known for its collaborative and supportive spirit. Can you speak to the ways in which you have found connection and support within this community, and how these relationships have influenced your creative work? This was a really hard question to answer, because if I am being completely honest, I don't feel supported within the community. As much as we try to deny it, and this is my personal opinion, there is a degree of favoritism among us. I see a lot of the same creators constantly in the limelight, which can make promoting others more difficult. And that's not to say that they don't deserve the support that they get, because God, do we have a talented community. That's why I really appreciate the SMAC team for putting together this convention, because anyone can be a part of it no matter who you are, what game you use, what type of content you make, etc. That being said, I do also hold the opinion that you shouldn't base your self-worth on how others perceive you and your machinima. There is nothing wrong with wanting recognition for all of the hard work that you put into your projects, but don't let the negative comments outweigh your passion. Not everyone is going to like your content, and that's okay. Make the stories that make you happy, and not the ones you think other people want to see. That's all the questions we have for today, so I just want to send a warm thank you to everyone for joining me and to everyone who sent in a question. And before I head out, I would just like to extend a huge thank you to the SMAC team for putting together such a lovely convention for all of us to enjoy. Bye!
Don't move, we'll be right back.
Coming up, Winter Sims. And after, MOONSYMPATHIZER.
Okay, maybe it's not beautiful, but did you have to choose the parking lot as our meetup spot?
What's wrong with the parking lot?
Nothing. It's just, walking through a bunch of cute couples during a dry spell is kind of like standing under one of those big buckets at the splash zone, but the water is shut off.
Okay, well, with that...
Hey guys, my name is Winter, also known as Winter Sims, and I'm a Sims 2 Machinima director. My current project is called Attachment Theory, and it's a Sims 2 subtitle series that's been in production since April 2022. I'm super excited to be participating in SMAC this year, and I got a ton of excellent questions from you all, so let's jump right in. The first question is, what inspired you to start creating and sharing Machinimas back in 2011? What inspired you to pick it up again in 2020? And building onto that, in what way is Machinima directing different today compared to when you first started out? So, I first started playing Sims 2 in 2009, but it wasn't until 2010 or 2011 that I discovered people on YouTube who were using Sims as a medium to tell stories. I just remember thinking that it looked really fun, and I was desperate to give it a try and see if I was any good at it. I've always loved writing stories, but it always frustrated me to not be able to, see them. So doing Sims Machinima was kind of the perfect solution for that. As for 2020, the pandemic definitely played a huge part in getting me back into it. I'd actually had thoughts about getting back into it a couple years prior, but the timing just wasn't really right. Then in April 2020, I found myself working from home with a brand new laptop and basically trapped in my apartment with nothing to do all day. I remember thinking, if there was ever a perfect time to get back into Sims Machinima, now would be the time. There's a lot that's different about Machinima directing now compared to when I first started. I'm constantly blown away by the level of quality people are able to achieve in their projects nowadays. But I think one of the biggest differences I've felt is just the vibe of the community. Overall, the community is so much more supportive, and it also feels much more tight-knit. Back in the day, there were a lot of people that watched Sims series, but there wasn't much engagement or connection beyond that. It didn't really feel like a community back then, but it really does now. The next question is, you are one of the few Sims directors that have actually seen their series to completion. It's such an amazing feat. How are you able to stay inspired and working on one series or project for so long? First of all, thank you so much. I think one of the reasons I've been able to complete multiple series is just because of the way I am as a person. I'm very stubborn to a fault about following through on things that I've started. As I've grown and matured, I've learned that it's okay, and sometimes it can even be the right decision to move on from something without finishing it, but I've always put a lot of pressure on myself to finish whatever I've started before moving on to something else. I also try really hard not to take on more than I know I can handle. Honestly, props to any and all directors out there who have ever juggled more than one project at once. You guys are incredible. My brain just doesn't really allow me to focus on more than one thing at a time, so it's easy for me to just channel all my energy into whatever my current project is. The next question is, you've created multiple stories over the years. What genre have you still not touched that you hope to in the future? Everything that I've created so far has been really grounded in reality, and I feel like that's kind of where my strength lies. I don't think I'd ever go fully into fantasy or sci-fi, but I would love to do a project that has some elements of those genres. At least something where I could experiment with world building and making my own rules for the universe. How did you come up with the title Attachment Theory? It kind of happened by dumb luck, to be honest. I knew I wanted there to be some tie-in to the psychological aspect of the show, since that's such a big part of it. I also wanted it to be a slightly longer title because before this, all of my series have had one-word titles. I had some other ideas I was considering, but nothing really felt right. Eventually, I decided to Google psychology terms from A to Z, and as you can tell, I didn't make it very far down that list before finding a winner. I had already been assigning the characters' attachment styles as a kind of character building exercise, and a lot of the show has to do with exploring how your upbringing shapes who you become, so it just seemed like the perfect title for the series. The next question is, you have such a fantastic subtitle series. How do you respond to people that only watch Sims series if it's voiceover? And what's your key to creating a show that can submerge an audience like Attachment Theory has? I really hope that there's not anybody out there that wouldn't give my series a chance just because it's a subtitle series, but I also respect that people have their own preferences that they're entitled to. It definitely makes me sad to see subtitle series kind of falling off, since those are such a huge part of the foundation of Sims Machinima. But I also love seeing so many amazing voiceover series out there, and I do love that that medium has become so much more accessible nowadays. I think maybe the reason some people prefer voiceover to subtitles is because that more closely resembles what we see in mainstream media, which I totally get. I would just say give it a chance. Some of my favorite Sims series ever are subtitled, so you never know what you might miss if you only watch one or the other. As for the second question, I honestly don't know. I'm so happy that people have responded so well to attachment theory. I think one of the special things about this series compared to any of my others is that it just feels really relatable. I really wanted this series to reflect my current stage in life, so most of the characters are in their mid-20s, either pursuing higher education or trying to make a name for themselves in the working world. They're all kind of learning how to navigate adult life, despite not yet feeling like adults, and I think that's something that's resonated with a lot of people as they've watched it. Do you feel regret to have killed off Jamie from the start as you show the story of what led up to the day of his death? If you hadn't already shown who the dead body was, would you consider putting anyone else in his place? So, mild spoiler alert for the people who haven't seen it, but it also happens in the first episode, so it's whatever. I definitely don't feel regret, but I'm the kind of person that falls more and more in love with their characters the longer that I'm working on the series. So while I don't feel regret for killing him off, I definitely did not anticipate how hard it's going to be to say goodbye to him when we get to that point. At the time that I made that decision, I didn't really have any real connection to his character yet, but I can already tell it's going to absolutely destroy me when we get there. I don't think I'd ever consider putting anyone else in his place, though. In my mind, it was always going to be Jamie. The next question is, you have such a fun and unique selection of music. Where do you find the right music from? Spotify has been a godsend, honestly. Music is such a huge part of the series for me, especially with it being subtitled. It's kind of the only auditory aspect of the show, so I spend a lot of time trying to find the right kind of music. Obviously, I always choose songs that I enjoy listening to, but I try my best to make sure that the tone of the music matches the tone of the scene. I gravitate a lot towards indie pop and rock, as well as alternative rock. Anything with a very clean and mellow sound usually fits pretty well. Anytime I'm struggling to find the right song, I'll go to Spotify and search the emotion or feeling I'm trying to convey in the scene. The algorithm does a pretty good job of creating a mix of music I might listen to that matches that feeling. From there, I'll just listen to a bunch of stuff until I find something that fits. The next question is, what are your inspirations, Sims or otherwise? Most of my inspirations come from other media I've consumed, usually movies and TV, but sometimes books as well. I definitely wish I read more, because I'm sure that would give me a lot more inspiration. I also take a lot of inspiration from real life, especially with attachment theory. Why have you stuck with Sims 2 all these years? And do you imagine yourself switching to another Sims game in the future? I think I've stuck with Sims 2 all these years because it's what I learned first, and it just feels the most familiar to me. At this point, I don't think I would consider switching to another Sims game. I feel like I've already reached the point of diminishing returns, where it would just take me so long to relearn how to do it all that it wouldn't even be worth it. So, as long as Sims 2 continues to work on my computer, that's what I'll be doing. The next question is, would you ever make a voiceover show? Yeah, absolutely. It's something I've always wanted to try, but I've been apprehensive about it for a number of reasons. Currently though, I'm in the very early planning stages of a voiceover mini-series, so hopefully it's something that will happen eventually. You've been creating Sims series for quite some time now. If you could say something to your younger self as she was just starting her Machinima journey, what would it be? I absolutely love this question, which is why I saved it for last. There are so many things I could say, but the most important thing I'd say would be to have patience, both with yourself and with the process. Back then, I was always in such a hurry to finish episodes that I'd often overlook things. I'd leave in clips with mistakes, or clips that I didn't really like that much, because I didn't want to take extra time to reshoot. And I think for a long time that stunted my ability to improve. Those that did Sims Machinima back then know it was a far less forgiving time from audiences. People weren't very patient, but I definitely could have been more patient with myself. It's great seeing the finished product at the end, but the process is the fun part. If it wasn't at least somewhat enjoyable, I don't think it would be worth doing. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions, and thanks to everyone for watching. I want to say a huge thank you to all the creators who have worked so hard to make this event a reality. This community is truly something special. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the convention.
return after the break.
Coming up, MOONSYMPATHIZER. And after, VIVALANDRA.
I'm just worried about Tresor. We haven't spoken since our fight.
Turn on your fucking phone.
I don't know, this feels different.
I just think if you're going to accuse someone of cheating, you should be absolutely sure first.
Are you sure she's okay with me coming? You guys haven't seen each other in a month. I don't wanna, ruin the weekend for you two.
Rain, meet my roommate, Paige.
You realize you've ruined my life.
There are also alternatives you can consider to carrying out the pregnancy.
How does that go, exactly?
You're not the type of person that can just separate feelings from sex.
What about medication?
This is only the beginning.
Welcome to this year's SMAC. Moon, how are you enjoying yourself today?
Doing great today, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I have some questions that your fans submitted to me today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how do you approach creating a distinct and memorable voice for a character that has never been portrayed?
So I typically go in to the character with my own voice at first, which sounds really weird, but might as well get it known in my bones with that. And then I just sort of fluctuate with it, you know. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's hard because sometimes I'm like, it's nice when they have a guide on what sort of voice that they're looking for, but if the director doesn't have a guide, then I go in with my normal voice and I hope that they like that, and if they have any questions or if they want me to do something different, I'll more than likely do it. And yeah.
Yeah, and do you ever maybe just submit two voices from the two?
So if it's for the audition, I typically do 3 takes of it and I fluctuate with the voice there. I see how that feels, and sometimes I'm like, oh, actually that does fit the character a lot more than what I was doing before. But if you hear me throughout the series, then most of the time my voice tends to change a lot because I get more and more comfortable with the character, I think, and that's how I want to approach them at that point. And typically that's the right call, and I'm happy for that.
So next question. You've been in the Sims community for many years. What are some of the characters that you've voiced that you found most memorable?
Most memorable, that would have to be Faye from The Rivers.
Oh my god, I love Faye.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, she's so great. I love her so much. She's definitely the most memorable for me. Also May.
Yeah.
She is, I think, my most iconic one because I've actually got to play her twice now. For the original series and now for the reboot series.
Oh wow, so you were in the original as well.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So I gotta love May. She's just incredible. And oh goodness, I feel like there's one more that's iconic, but those are the two that I really think of when I think of my own voice acting.
Next question. Are there any characters that you've voiced that you wish you could re-record and give them different voices?
I'm technically doing that for May right now. So revisiting May has been so great because I listened to my voice of how it was in the original and I'm like, oh my god, you sound like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old. And I was at the time. I was 15 when I recorded for May. In the original series. I think a lot of my older series I wish I could re-record for to now.
What is a type of character that you still have not had the chance to voice for, but would love to explore?
Oh my god. It's so funny because I feel like I definitely would say like a gray villain, like a villain who's morally gray. I actually got done with a play, not to self-plug my theater, but I got done with a play that has me as like this morally gray villain. So not villain, but like antagonist. But I think I want to explore that a bit more just because I feel like I haven't been able to as much as I want. I feel like sometimes I'm boxed in, but morally gray, I would love to explore that.
So speaking of like voicing, and you said you did theater, so what inspired you to get into voice acting?
So I was 14, 15 at the time, and I was going to a high school that wouldn't let me act. So we were put in majors, and I just so happened to be in the band major, and I wouldn't really be able to go and act in the acting major. So I needed something to fuel that creative side still. And I saw Sims voiceover series during that summer of going into high school. And it just awakened something in me. I was so shook at the time that people were able to do this, that people were doing this. And like, I was just so intrigued on how they were doing it. And I really was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that. And I told my dad, and my dad went out to the store and he got me my own microphone right then and there. It was like a little cheap desktop one, or I forgot what it was, but the image is in my head of it. So he bought me that, and I started auditioning, and then I met so many people. It was during the Skype days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was during the Skype days, and I met a lot of voice actors after that, and it was just really incredible.
Oh, that's so cool. So just going from like, what kind, I mean, you had a little desk mic. What kind of mic do you have right now?
So right now I have my Tried and True Blue Yeti. I've had this since, I want to say, my junior or senior year of high school. And it's been treating me well over the years, so I have no reason to upgrade it right now.
If you could voice a role in any show that you're in that isn't your character, which would you pick and why?
Oh, good. You know, I will be honest. I am so jealous of Bree Storm as Raven.
Oh, yeah.
Because she gets to tell Tresser off so many times. And the way I wish that Faye would just tell this woman off sometimes, I need it so badly. But she's such a sweet thing that she would never.
I know. I would love a slap.
I would too. I would love to be able to slap Tresser, but like Raven or Aileen, I would love to voice just so I could like tell Tresser off. Or even Jonah. Yeah. Jonah and his one-liners are really good, but I'm pretty sure Alex makes most of those one-liners up.
Oh yeah, he's good at ad-libbing.
He's incredible. Oh my gosh, that man.
So the last question is kiss, marry, or kill. And the characters will be May, Faye, and Renesmee.
Oh! No! These characters so much.
It's really hard because they're so likable.
No, all of them are so sweet, especially my sweet. Oh my gosh, my sweet girls. No, all of them are too good.
Yeah, but you have to pick. You have to pick who for what.
Oh my god. I remember reading some of these questions and I didn't know it was Renesmee who was the third one.
Yeah, so May, Faye, and Renesmee. So which one would you kiss, marry, or kill?
Oh my god. Oh no. Sorry, I'm like lamenting now. I'm so scared. So sad. Oh my gosh, all of these characters have like such an important role in my life. I can't kill Faye, so I can't. No matter how many times I want, she has to like yell at someone once, like in a mean way. So I can't kill her. I'm gonna go. Would I marry her? Yes, I would actually.
She's nice. She would make a great wife.
But would I make a great wife for her? That's my issue. Maybe I would kiss Faye because I don't want her to deal with my issues. You know, I already do therapy with her when I'm voicing her. I'll just kiss Faye. Oh man. No, this is so hard.
So either May or Renesmee, which one would you marry or kill?
My only issue with Renesmee is that she is such high energy, and I would want to kill myself. So
easy, because you don't want someone with high energy to make you like so anxious.
Yeah. So Renesmee, I love you, baby. I hope wherever you're at in the universe, it's not this, but I will have to kill you, because you are just. Even voicing you, sometimes I get a little nightmare, but I still miss you. And then I guess that leaves. Guess I'm marrying. Guess I'm marrying May. Okay. I guess.
Don't seem too excited.
Now I really want to switch. Like, actually, I will marry Faye and kiss May. Give her a little forehead kiss because that girl needs it right now.
Oh God, yeah. Like that last episode. Come on, like.
Yeah. So if I can change that, kiss May and then marry Faye. I'll get therapy just for Faye.
Yeah, I still think Faye, you know, will have her moment and she'll be a good wife.
Yeah, she'd be a fantastic wife.
Yeah, she's super nice. You know, maybe getting married will help her kind of have a little bit more of an attitude. I don't know.
I hope so.
Yes.
I really hope so. I hope I get to voice Faye married because I want that attitude to come out.
All right, so those are all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us in this year's SMAC, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Coming up, VIVALANDRA. And after, MAESIMSPRODUCTIONS.
There's a lot you don't know about me, Hana. Get your hands off of her!
Monty, it's fine.
I've only ever felt safe when I was with you.
You're just like your mother.
Don't talk about my mother. And to be honest, everything about you is special. If I didn't know any better, I'd say I was falling in love with you.
Don't, but like.
I don't want you making the same mistakes I did.
Give me some trust, okay? I'm not you.
Don't wanna flow backwards. I'm not gonna go backwards. Not for a gambling man.
Whatever fight this is,
In your hands.
we're in it together.
It was all in your hands. Your hands, your hands, your hands.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for having me. My name is SMAC. I go by VIVALANDRA Films as a Sims Machinima director, and today I'm speaking on the panel as an SMAC 2023 Sims Machinima director for the Sims 4 film Collision. You'll have to forgive me. Speaking in a very public manner is not really my area of expertise. However, I am powering through it today. Okay, so this first question says, as a director, you can create stories and worlds that push the boundaries of what is possible within the game. How do you approach experimentation and innovation in your work? And what new possibilities do you believe the Sims Machinima medium offers for storytelling and representation? Wow, that's a lot of words. I'm going to tackle this one question at a time. So I actually have very little background in being tech savvy, which is actually kind of ironic because I've been in the community for roughly over 10 years now. Experimentation is tricky in the sense that I find it very difficult to challenge myself in new realms of talent. So as far as like the experimentation and innovation in my work, it's mainly just looking up tutorials and kind of studying the cinematography of every other Machinima filmmaker, but also trying to implement my own styles too. And I even took a year of film in college. I really enjoyed it, but where I reside now, it's not a very big field. I would have to relocate. So I did switch my major to something a little bit more demographic friendly, but yeah, endless possibilities, obviously. It's evolutionary. Okay, second question is, did you have any inspirations making this? Was there someone in your personal life you thought about creating some of the characters? Yes, there are many inspirations, some of them literary. I like to take inspirations from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. As far as the characters, I like to say, just for convenience sake, that all the characters pretty much have a piece of my own personality in them in their own special way. And some of them were based off of people that I do know in real life. Some people that I've gone to high school with, some people that I have done extracurriculars with, and just some people in my personal life that I consider close friends. When did you start planning this project out? I want to say I started planning the project out. Well, I began writing the book about mid 2021. And right before I published it, I was like, I haven't been in the Sims community for a little bit. I want to go back to it. Maybe I can turn my book into an animated film. So then I decided to do that. So I guess about mid 2021 technically is when Collision altogether was thought up. But I started actually casting people and working on the film, I believe in September of 2022. Which character has the best development to you? The three main ones I feel like that have engaged in the most development would be Henry, Hana, and Monty. If I really had to say the best, probably Hana. Because Monty's pretty much been, in his own way, he did change. Just the way that he saw a grand outcome is definitely very different than the person who he used to be probably would have handled it. But Hana for sure, I feel like, ran the longest distance with that. Is there any genre you hope to explore in the future? Yeah, but I want to do a slow transition to get there. But I also kind of want to move to psychological thrillers. I'm going to be really honest, I feel like I'm a better writer than I am like a director. Like, writing has always been a passion for me. If I could be hired on as a writer for anyone's projects, even if it was like an indie video game or what have you, I would love to do something like that. But ideally, I want to stick with mysteries and psychological thrillers. I feel like would be I've always wanted to write something like that, just to say that I pulled an Agatha Christie of some sort. Not tied into it, but right now, Hana and Monty's story has my heart. How do you stay motivated to work on your projects? Easy, Adderall. Hands down. No, I'm just kidding. No, motivation would probably just be, I don't know, just, I like to listen to lo-fi music, and like, a lot of people don't know this, and they would never guess it, ever, by looking at me, but, I like to listen to like Mozart, Tchaikovsky, sometimes, Bach, but like, he gets a little crazy, I feel like, for the focus. I'm really big in listening to classical music, period. When I write or work on any machinimas. Occasionally, if I'm feeling really ballsy, I'll just kind of like put on whatever genre of a movie, because I have dual monitors. So I'll put on whatever genre of a movie that I'm working on. In this case, for Collision, it was pretty much almost always a romance or a drama of some sort, and just kind of like turn my head, and I'm just like, oh, that shot looks kind of cool in that movie. I'm going to try to mimic it in this one. So a lot of the time, it's just staying motivated is very difficult for somebody like me. But I think the best thing that I've utilized that I felt has helped me was to be gracious about the deadline. I knew that it was going to take me forever to get the film done. I wasn't really caring as much about like fancy graphics and animation as much as I was just like, does it feel like a movie? Does it play out like a movie? If it does, I think I've accomplished exactly what I was striving to accomplish. Study and then try to replicate, and I don't know. I think I did pretty good. So, do the novel and the film end the same? Well, I can't answer that question, otherwise that wouldn't be very fun, huh? I gotta plead the fifth on that one. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to read it. I mean, I don't know. Is there gonna be a sequel? The plan is to make one. I'm not 100% sure if everyone that was involved in the first film is going to be present in the second film to reprise their roles. Most of the cast that I've asked have said that they would definitely be down to do it. But the plan is to make a second one, yes, but I would ideally like to get the second book done first, and that's not going to be for a little bit. So, nah, jury's still out on when it's coming, but I feel like I should make it happen because, I don't know, I don't feel right leaving it off the way that I did. Even though it's very realistic and oddly cathartic, I don't want that to be like the final note. I feel like the circle hasn't really been completed, even though it kind of feels completed in a weird way. So we'll see about that one. Just hold that note. What have you learned about yourself while writing Collision? That is a really good question. I'd say probably the biggest thing is that I'm definitely not as cynical as I thought that I was, which is weird because I've always considered myself a nihilist of a sort. I have this massive conspiracy theory that like nobody is ever there for good intent. So I'm just like, anytime somebody is nice to me, I self-sabotage. And I feel like that's a lot of like Monty's character, and that's kind of where that comes from with me, where it's like things are going good, they're going good, what's gonna happen? I still believe in love, and I feel like the only reason why I do at this point is because I'm so filled like to the brim with it. Final question is, if you could incorporate any Sims character from any Sims 2, 3, 4 series out right now into the Collision universe, which would it be and why? If we are taking it back, like all the way back, like old school, there is a director who isn't really active as much anymore, who goes by the pen name Komarai515. They created this series, the Sims 2 series, Teenaged, and that series blows my freaking mind with storytelling. It's so good and it's so laid out, and the characters are so like vividly crafted that the sense of realism is just on point. I am honestly curious as to how Nick and Monty would interact with each other, which if you have not seen Teenage, first of all, go watch it. It's crazy good. I'm honestly curious to see how Monty and Nick would interact with each other, and how Hana and Alyssa would interact with each other, because I feel like their personalities, that I feel like they would just in a group setting, they'd probably be really good. Like they'd probably really vibe together. And that concludes all of the panel questions for my director Q&A. Thank you so much for the opportunity, you guys, and thank you for the questions that you've sent in. Big thank you again for giving me the opportunity to do so. You can catch Collision on iammachinima.tv or just my YouTube channel, and I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you enjoy our hard work, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you.
Don't move. We'll be right back.
Coming up, MAESIMSPRODUCTIONS. And after, MYSTICWATERZ.
We're doing this for Dad. That woman cannot get away with killing our father. I don't trust this friend of yours. If she utter a word about this, I will end her.
I can keep your dirty little secret, and in return, you will make sure I get to be Bella's assistant by the end of the internship program. Designing is something I breathe. I don't have to force myself into it. It comes naturally.
What if I told you Cassandra is screwing Thorn right now?
You arrogant little bitch.
The way you're whining right now makes me believe you think I'm your mother.
Of course I wouldn't want the world to know you're my children, now would I?
You got between my mother and I. I hate you, Ryan.
We need to act fast. I can't stand her anymore.
We'll be nipping Bella's butt from right under her nose.
There's nothing in this world that can challenge me. I'm Bella Goth.
Hello everybody and welcome to the second Sims Machinima in Animation convention. My name is Panimokosi, the creator and one of the producers of House of Goth. It is so great to be here, and for that I thank the SMAC team for putting together such an amazing project. I'm here today to answer a few questions from you guys about our project House of Goth. House of Goth is a story of Bella Goth who kills her husband in cold blood, and two of her husband's secret children are on a mission to avenge their father's death. It is a very dramatic thriller that you're gonna absolutely love. So if you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. You're gonna love it. I'm so happy about these questions. So before I get carried away, let me just get on to the questions. The first question: what inspired you to create this series? I would say it is the education that I want to pass on to the audience, that people don't wake up and decide to be evil, but everyone goes through something. But unfortunately, others experience hell more than others, and sometimes it changes them for the worst. The second question: how did you get into writing and being a Sims 4 director? So writing has always been a part of me since I was about 9 years old. I didn't have so many friends, so I was always in my little corner, and that drove my mind to be very wild. So everything that was in my mind, I would turn that into a story. So I did my research about script writing, and then I learned how to format a screenplay, and that is how I got into writing. With directing, I was familiar with the Sims game franchise since I was 11, and when I was about 13, I got to know about the Sims 4, and for me it was the most amazing Sims game ever. So I would watch a lot of Let's Play, and in the year 2022 it happened that I came across a Machinima project and I was hyped. So I went and searched for tutorials to learn how this thing works, and when I was ready, I then wrote my first ever Machinima. So the whole thing was just amazing to do. You know how it's like when you're starting something new, you're just having fun. And I think that whole feeling of having fun it was the same feeling that has carried me from the beginning till today. You know, having to transition a story from script into live action, that is epic. And yeah, that is how I became a Machinima director. The next question, can you speak to what inspires you as a creator and how you approach incorporating your unique perspective and ideas into your work? How do you stay motivated and inspired throughout the creative process? And what advice would you give to another creator who is struggling with creative blocks or lack of inspiration? So what inspires me really has to be a code that I live by that says, everybody is here for my service and I'm also here for their service. So when my story inspires someone, that is me rendering my service to that person. And I respect the impact my story has on other people. And I think that is something that keeps me inspired all the time. And it pushes me to go forward and not stop. And how I approach incorporating my unique perspective and ideas into my work, I ask myself how a certain character would deal with this kind of situation. And I think it is a time where you get to open your mind to different ideas and welcome them and see how you shape them or add them into your story. What motivates me really has to be listening to music, because it brings out the creative person inside of me. So I'd say to fellow creators, do not push yourself just to create content. Take as much time as you need, take a walk, listen to good music, and freshen up so that when you come back to your creative work, your brain is super refreshed. And the next question, I love Bella Goth. What were you thinking when you decided to tell her story as a strong woman? I think it is the love of powerful women. There is nothing that entices me more than powerful women. When you look at Bella Goth, she has a mind of her own and she's not afraid of the world and she makes her own decisions. And the last question is, what has been the most rewarding part about machinima making? When I created House of Gold, all it was a vision that transitioned into a script. And having these voice actors turn it into live action, that was the most rewarding part. Because they understand what the story is about, what is going on in the story, and they bring their talents, emotions, and everything to bring life into these characters. And that is it from me and the questions that I have today. Thank you so much for listening to me blabbering about the show and stuff. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show, and that is it for me. Thank you.
We'll be right back after the break.
Coming up, Mystic Waters. And after, Nightlife series.
My dear, I think you're overthinking this a little too much.
This is crazy, Mochi. Like, how hard is it to just say hi to someone?
You just don't have the natural charisma that I do, darling. That gift of the gab, if you will.
That's it. I'm not doing it. Just gonna let it ring, and then we can go back to how things were, and then...
And then you're going to go back to square one, Hannah. If not now, when?
Hey everyone, my name is MYSTICWATERZ and I am super happy to be here. Let me tell you, I was super happy to join and sign up to join the panel on the SMAC this year, and you guys, like, If you know me, I'm super goofy and I laugh at everything. So just so you know, warning, I'm gonna laugh and giggle. But anyway, I'm just super excited. Like I said, my name is MYSTICWATERZ. If you don't know me, I am a voice actor. I started in Sim Machinima, so this is huge for me. And let's just go ahead and get started with the questions. Okay, first question. How has it been playing Audrey been so far? I just love her. Yes, I love her too. And if you don't know Audrey, she is from House of Goth. It is a Sim Machinima, and it is by MAESIMSPRODUCTIONS. Please go check it out, House of Goth. It's amazing. I love playing Audrey because I can do different emotions with her. Like, I never know what the script is going to be. And when I see that, like, I'm in a certain scene, I'm like, oh, I'm going all out. Like, I'm going to show my voice acting chops, all that. So it's been so much fun playing Audrey. Like, absolutely fun. She's one of my favorite Sim characters. Like, literally, I watch every episode, by the way. And when my part comes up, I'm just like, everybody just hush and listen. I just love her. But Audrey, yeah, she's amazing. And shout out to MAESIMS. They're amazing. Like, yeah, it's juicy. But anyway, on to the next question. How did you start out as a VA? Okay, so it's interesting because a lot of people probably have this same story where someone said, you have a great voice, you should do voice acting, but it completely doesn't matter if you have a great voice or not. Voice acting can be for anyone. You know what I mean? If you put everything in it, if you are motivated to do it, go ahead and do it. But how I started was actually Sim Machinimas, like I said at the beginning. That's how I started out. I actually started out in a machinima called The Heights, and The Heights is by Lady Aquarius Production, and that is another fantastic machinima. Please go see it. It's about a black mafia family. It's a wonderful. My character's name is Melody Monroe, and I'm basically like the villain. You know what I mean? Which I absolutely love, and I grew into that character. When I first started doing Melody, I was on a phone. That's how I started as a VA, was on my phone. Terrible, but she took me in, and I will be forever grateful. But anyway, to cut a long story short, that's how I started as a voice actor. Can you do accents or change your voice? Yeah. I mean, in voice acting, that's kind of like 101. Like, you have to be able to change up your voice. You don't have to know all accents, but it is very good if you do know how to change it up. Because, you know, I'm from the South and I know what I'm doing sometimes, and sometimes I don't. You just gotta know. You gotta know how to change up, because it gets boring after a while. You don't want to always sound like MYSTICWATERZ. You know what I mean? Like, you got to change it up. But next question. What are some machinima directors that you haven't worked with that you love to work with in the future? Oh my God, the list is long and I cannot name everyone. One of them was actually Trap Goddess Shorty. I don't know if anyone knows her. I know you guys do. That's why I said it like that. But she's amazing. She's one of the directors that I was waiting for her to start a VA like machinima, and she did. And, you know, there might be a surprise very soon with her new Sim Machinima called Breakout. I might be in it, I might not. You never know. But anyway, she was one of like the biggest ones that I wanted to be on her platform. There's a couple more out there. I don't want to say anything right now because there's a lot of things in the works at the moment, and I don't want to put that out there. But just know, the machinima directors that I want to work with, something might be in the works. Next question. What inspired you to start voice acting? Sim Machinimas, honestly, and that's no lie. Like, literally, I would sit there and watch them before, you know, anybody started voicing them. I would be like, man, this would be great if somebody added voices to these people that are talking, like these Sims that are talking. it would be so great if somebody started that. And I ran into one machinima. Honestly, right now, I cannot think of the name, but I was like, this is brilliant. What if I helped in any type of way of like giving my voice out, you know, helping with these machinimas? And it just went off from there where I'm just like, oh my gosh, people are actually messaging me to be on their machinima. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, oh my God. But anyway, next question. What advice would you give an up-and-coming Sims voice actor? Do your best. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be the best when you first start. You're going to make mistakes. And you guys have to realize that you're not going to be perfect as soon as you start. There are so many things that I made mistakes on that most people don't even know, like me starting on the phone and then eventually getting a microphone, that one breaking, me trying to figure out things, you know, trying to record, trying to have no background noise. You know, you're still trying to figure that out as a voice actor. You will get better. You will get better. I promise. Everything will work out. If you put in the work, it's going to come out great. Don't worry. Is there a type of character you still haven't played but wish to play in the future? Honestly, I think I've got a little bit of everyone. Like, because I'm not just doing Sims machinimas now, I'm doing a lot more other things. And I think I've got a little taste of every character I can think of. Like, I'm talking about like playing African characters, British characters, Southern characters. I've played a little bit of everything. Villains, the good girl, the bad girl. And it's been so much fun. So really, I've dipped my toe in pretty much everything that I can think of. How do you get into the mindset of the character you are voicing? I have to know their personality. I have to know something about the character for me to be able to get into their mindset. So when someone sends me a character, I have questions if they didn't already answer them for me. Like, how is this person act in public? Or what's their mindset? What kind of character is she, you know, going to be? What is their end game? You know, I have to know about that character. And then I start thinking like them as an actor. Because I'm a theater baby, by the way, we had to learn how to get into the character. It's the same thing with voice acting. You got to learn your character. You have to be that character. And that's what I am in every character that I play. What is it about a character in a casting call that draws you to audition for them? Really, honestly, I audition for everything. And I'm not joking. I don't find anything in the casting call. If I feel like I don't fit that character, I'm still going to audition. You never know. I literally cast my net to everything. And I'm not even joking. Like, if you go to casting call right now, they're going to be like, Mystic, she auditions for everything. Like, literally, it's on my profile. I have auditioned for a lot of things. And, you know, you're going to get no's, you know, but you're going to get yeses as well. And that's what I do. I cast my net to everything, literally. So when I look at a character in a casting call, I just shoot my shot. Is there anything off limits when you're auditioning for a role? Something that would turn you away from auditioning? I'm pretty open. There's nothing that I can think of that will stop me from doing a character role. Like, I have to really think about this one. Like, there was nothing that I've ever was like, oh, I can't do that. Or, you know what I mean? As an actor, I just feel like you have to be open to pretty much everything. If you're trying to really do this, like, for real, because in my mind, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm actually trying to be a real voice actor. So I don't know. There's no limits for me. I don't have an off limit. If I run into it, I'm gonna let y'all know. And that was all the questions. I appreciate everyone that sent in the questions, by the way. I appreciate SMAC for even letting me have a panel on here. Like, literally, when you guys accepted me, I was blew away, because this Sim Machinima, the Sim community is amazing. And I'm so glad you guys welcomed me with open arms. I appreciate everyone that even listened to my segment. Hello, how are you? You can always follow me on YouTube, MYSTICWATERZ. Of course, they're going to have my other social media stuff, but thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate you all, and have a wonderful day.
Don't move, we'll be right back.
Coming up, Nightlife series. And after, Yes, She's a Simmer.
Please welcome the cast from Queen's Nightlife series. Queen Tori, Tommy, Melissa, Diamond, Aiden, Endel, and Jermaine.
Welcome. Can you tell us what Nightlife series is about?
Sure. It is a story that shines light on the importance of mental health in communities of the underprivileged.
Queen, please tell us your story.
My story starts in a nightclub that I acquired when I was 19-ish. I was a teen runaway, a high school dropout.
If you don't mind, can you explain?
All I will say is my father was abusive. I couldn't stay around that toxicity.
Sorry to hear. Can you talk about your mother?
I didn't have a good relationship with her. She couldn't forgive my dad for going to jail, and she turned to drugs.
How would you say your childhood molded you? I don't trust easily, especially not men. Money is my only family. I am a loner.
How did you end up at the club at the tender age of 19? It used to be a bar. I turned it into a nightclub years later, after the owner stopped showing up.
So this show documents your journey from a high school dropout to a nightclub owner?
Yes, and also how important mental health is. What do you want the viewers to know?
You are worth it, regardless of your path to success.
Do you face discrimination as a dancer?
Especially as a dancer. People look down on us, but forget we have hardships and feelings. I dance to survive.
Thank you, Queen. Tori, tell us about yourself. I'm Tori, the bestie to Queen. I am the club manager. This was my first job after dropping out of college.
What can we expect from you in the series?
I'll be assisting in the club and navigating my own struggles.
Can you tell us about your journey, Tori?
My parents preferred the college path, but it wasn't realistic. The coursework was complicated and boring. I couldn't stay there.
Do you have any plans post-college?
Just to give my child what money couldn't buy. Unconditional love. People don't realize money doesn't fix what's broken.
What do you mean? My family shunned me and cut me off financially when I didn't follow their rules.
Do you have a message for your audience? We are all the same, trying to find our place in this world. Be kind to those who have different interests. Thank you, Tori. Tommy, please tell us about yourself.
I am the sim-renowned traveling hairstylist. My main salon is in San Myshuno, but I travel all over. I provide spa services, nails, massages, and makeup.
Your story is opposite of Queen and Tori. Can you share with us? I graduated college. I styled hair in my dorm those for years until I had enough to open my salon. I wouldn't say I'm different from Queen and Tori. I've had hardships.
What type of hardships? The spice market didn't have an urban hairstylist. People didn't want to give me a chance. I was denied real estate loans.
Did you succeed?
I got my big break when I styled a celebrity who came to town. She liked my work and said the industry needed me.
From there, my notoriety grew, but my relationship suffered.
Would you share what you mean?
More clientele meant less time with ND.
Would you like to say anything else to your audience?
Stay true to your dreams and never forget who was there with you when you had nothing.
Thank you, Tammy. Melissa, please tell us about your journey.
I was attending nursing school when I became pregnant. I chose to postpone school until my babies were older.
Did having children make joining the workforce harder?
I didn't work for 12 years. I had no job experience. I didn't have my college degree either. Employers would only let me volunteer.
Do you have anything else to share?
For the women out there, you can have a family and a career. Never give up.
Thank you, Melissa. Tell us about yourself, Diamond.
I used to DJ in San Myshuno, but I wanted to be an owner. I landed the job at Queen's Club and hell broke loose.
What do you mean?
The other girls didn't accept me and I found out my boyfriend wasn't loyal. The job brought on many sleepless nights. I was left to choose between my love and my career.
Thank you, Diamond. Can you share anything? Jermaine and I joined Queen's nightclub. I thought this was my big break, but the only thing that broke was my heart.
What do you want the audience to know?
Regardless of how much you love someone, love yourself enough to let them go. Can you tell us what you mean? I spent more time fighting instead of growing in my career. Looking back, would you do anything different?
I wouldn't have ignored the red flags and the warnings. I won't say too much, just know I definitely had some regrets.
Thank you, ladies. Where can people find more information about this series?
Tumblr is our main platform, but we also are featured on TikTok, Machinima, and YouTube.
What is the frequency of posts on Tumblr, YouTube, and TikTok?
Daily posts on Tumblr. The YouTube has 60 videos posted about the series and TikTok is sporadic.
Any last words?
There is something for everyone. Tommy in the salon, Queen in her tax fraud charge, Diamond's journey to business ownership and heartbreak, Melissa's motherhood and nursing school, Tori finding herself. We hope you enjoy.
Thank you. Nightlife series.
SMAC will return after the break.
Coming up, Yes, She's a Simmer. And after, MG MILOSH.
So, are you trying to say that dreams are dangerous?
Absolutely not. That's quite a bold statement. I'm far from that. Dreaming, on the other hand, is a fascinating phenomenon. What worries me is another occurrence that can happen during our sleep. Lucid dreaming.
I came across this term. Isn't LG a state of full awareness?
Precisely. Lucid dreaming is like Lego toys. It will let you create weird and amazing things once you're in it. If you're a creative type, Lucid dreams can be an endless source of artistic inspiration. The dream world is your canvas, and you can create anything in it.
If we can experience such a dream where potentially our wildest desires can be fulfilled, why would you, Professor, tell people not to practice such an amazing thing?
Imagine now that you forget how to put your Lego pieces together. Or worse, someone enters your playground, takes toys away from you, and plays with them to his very liking. And there is nothing you can do. You can only watch and observe how the world around you is changing. Suddenly, you have now become a prisoner inside of yourself. Our brain can be tricky. Lucid dreaming can take you to paradises, but can also show you the darkest and most terrifying corners of your mind.
I'm dreaming, am I not?
Just try to relax. We'll all wake up at some point.
If I'm right, this seems to be a kind of lucid dream, but on a higher collective level.
Can't you see? I'm pressing this fucking button, but the radio doesn't seem to respond.
Shane, this place is kind of creepy. I'm not sure if I want to go all alone.
All right, everybody calm down. Remember, it's just a dream.
How do I know if, for instance, you are real, and not some figment of my mind?
You were not so eager to propose someone else, so how about you shut your pretty mouth this time as well?
Why am I seeing these things? What have I done to deserve this?
Eric?
How you doing, everybody? This is YESSHESASIMMER, and I am excited to be here at the Sims, Machinima, and Animations Convention. For those of you who may not know me, I am the writer and director of the Sims 4 Machinima series, The Landlord, The Road, and The Soulmate House, and also the creative director of the Machinima Movie and TV Awards. I'm excited to be here with you today and answer your questions, so we'll jump right in. The role was inspired by my time as a music manager. I was spending a lot of time on the road with my artists, and it gave me the idea to create this fictional competition where I never quite finished it. I never knew who won. And so when I thought about a follow-up to The Landlord, The Road was a no-brainer. I found my manuscript and I decided to make it into a series. I started making machinimas kind of instinctively. I came across one of my favorite creators, OMG Sims, The Reaper. The Reaper Season 1, it was a subtitle machinima, and I didn't even know that you could do that in The Sims 4. Also, The Mom's Cave, The Curse Those are two of my all-time favorite machinimas, and they really inspired me and pushed me to be more creative and to enter the community of machinimas. The character that was the hardest for me to write was Victor. Victor is the exact polar opposite of who I am. He's narcissistic, he's a gaslighter, he's manipulative, he's self-serving. I really can't. The more I wrote him, the more I disliked him. And I think he's a mixture of every single guy in my past that was a complete jerk. So Victor was definitely the hardest to write for. The easiest was Marie. In some aspects, I understand Marie's anger, and I understand how she handles situations. That's very much part of my personality. The ability to shut things off and shut people out and resolve things. But I think with her too, it was easiest because as she developed, I kind of developed. And so we kind of grew up and grew out of that behavior together. And so she was definitely the easiest. Managing my time was a process. It came after I developed more confidence in my directing and my filmmaking and also my editing. But I also do a lot of setting up in my script. So in my scripts, I always have my character developments. If a new character was entering this particular episode, I always have my set list and scene descriptions, and that really helps speed up the filming process. A good cliffhanger. If you've watched any of my shows, every episode ends in a cliffhanger. Every season finale, every mid-season finale ends with a cliffhanger. Another thing I think is I'm excited about my machinimas. I love my series. I watch my series as if I am not the writer or I didn't create it. And so I think you can feel that excitement in each episode, and that is really engaging to my audience. And again, a good cliffhanger never hurts. I've absolutely learned a lot about myself during this process. I had no confidence in myself as a director or a filmmaker or an editor, but I was very confident in my writing. So growing, learning, and asking a lot of questions from the wonderful machinima directors that I've had the opportunity to meet and become friends with in this community. Looking at other directors and how they film and the different effects, and thinking to myself, I want to produce quality like that. How do I get there? And continuing to push myself has definitely grown me. So yes, I've absolutely grown as not only a director, a writer, but also as a person. The character I most relate to is Michaela, definitely from The Road. I understand being young and falling into a situation that goes against who you naturally are, but also being able to grow out of that, understanding that that one action doesn't define you. Her and I have that in common. She made a mistake. She realized that mistake, and all she can do is grow and learn from that mistake going forward. That was a lesson that I had to learn, and I had to learn to forgive myself. And I think we saw that in the series finale as far as her growth, and as far as her taking accountability for her actions. So she's definitely the one that I relate to the most. The projects that I would like to work on in the future would be reality machinimas. I really enjoyed putting together the Machinima Movie and TV Awards and working with the Sims community to pull that off. I had an opportunity to get to know Simmers that I may not have had I not created that event. So definitely more reality machinimas. You'll see that with the Sims Design Star. You'll see that with the film festival coming up and with a couple other things that I have scheduled for late 2023 into 2024. And then of course, I can't say it enough, the Machinima Movie and TV Awards in May 2024. Editing has to be the hardest part of the machinima making process for me. I'm a perfectionist, so I spend a lot of time trying to make sure I get all of the scenes right. As far as the easiest, that would have to be writing. It's my very first passion. I love creating stories. And then the most rewarding would be premiere. I love watching the premiere with you guys, hanging out with you guys, chatting with you guys during the premiere, and just seeing it all come together. So that is all the questions that you guys have submitted. I hope I answered them and you got to know me a little better, more about me, my Sims journey, and my Machinima journey. Check me out on all social media platforms. I am YESSHESASIMMER across everything. I'm very transparent. Also, make sure to stop by the YouTube page, check out the series, and like and subscribe. I can't wait to see the rest of the wonderful directors that are also on this panel at this year's Sims Machinima and Animation Convention. Again, thank you guys for having me, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Coming up, MG MILOSH.
A woman was found near death at Magnolia Park today.
No prints, no wounds. From first glance, she doesn't appear to have been abused or assaulted. It's almost as if she fell asleep while swimming.
I didn't do anything. But they found my business card at the crime scene.
Conrad Bradbury.
Wait, it's that architect, right?
Who are you? Where's my Ash?
I know where he is, but the thing is, I'm not sure you really want to know too.
What do we know about him?
He's a psychologist with a degree. And by the way, he used to practice hypnosis.
Good. So now, relax. Clear your thoughts. Nothing should distract you from this moment.
Conrad, man, you wouldn't hurt a fly. Why would you kill a woman?
Someone's got a problem with me, and I have to solve it somehow.
Hello everyone! Welcome to my director panel on SMAC convention. My name's MG MILOSH, and today I'm gonna answer your questions about my projects, including the Trickster. Enjoy! So, first of all, I'm so honored to be here with everyone. I couldn't take part last year because I had my final exams, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who is involved in creating this convention for us, because, you know, it's such a wonderful place to talk about us, our projects. Yeah, thank you. So, without further ado, let's get into the questions. The first question is, this is your first time working with voice actors. What made you switch from subtitles machinimas to voiceover? What do you feel are some pros and cons of both? So to be honest, I've always wanted to try making a voiceover project. It's such a great way to make a project even better. With voice actors, the characters show more emotions, the intonation, and when your character literally speaks, they can show the things that aren't possible with only subtitles. But I don't want to say subtitled projects are bad, because they are better at other factors, like for example, you don't have to wait for others to finish your project, right? You can literally start on January 1st and finish it on December 31st. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but that's how I can be. Next question, what were some of your influences behind the creation of the Trickster series? So, The Trickster, as you might know, is a thriller, and I love thrillers. And the whole idea came up after I read a book about a hypnotist who killed his victims with hypnosis. It was a Polish book by a Polish author, and I really liked it. So to my fellow Polish friends, I can recommend you this book. Of course, I also used a bunch of ideas that didn't make it to Quest, my Sims 3 subtitled series. With the Trickster, I'm also trying something new. I'm trying not to show much blood as I did in Quest. Next question, in your opinion, what distinguishes a Sims Machinima as a unique form of storytelling in comparison to other types of media? To me, Sims Machinima is a wonderful piece of art, and it's literally for everybody. It is so easy to create beautiful stories thanks to this game. The Sims is all about storytelling, and basically just by playing, we create a story. And in any Sims game, you literally have all the tools for storytelling in Machinima. Animations, worlds, objects, characters. It's so cool to have everything in one place. Okay, next. It's obvious from your projects that you're a big fan of thrillers. Yeah, indeed. What are your biggest inspirations from that genre? Books, movies, TV shows? Well, as I said, I love thrillers, indeed. My inspiration for the Trickster was a book, as I mentioned earlier. It was a book by a Polish author. It was a Polish book also. But Quest was actually more inspired by this weird murderous game, Blue Whale, that happened many years ago, and also other video games. Also, my biggest inspiration is my favorite writer, Stephen King. You can clearly see it in Quest. What was the thought process behind the character of the Trickster? How did the character come to be? So, the character of the Trickster is pretty similar to the original one from a book it's inspired by, but a little different at the same time. He's called the Trickster because when I was creating him, I was a huge fan of a video game Dead by Daylight. There's a killer called the Trickster, and I thought it's such a cool name, so why not use it? And my Trickster character wears a black suit. Yeah, I think it adds a feeling of mystery to his persona, and I think it looks so good. Next. Between writing, filming and editing, what would you say is your favorite part of Machinima making? And I'd say, of course, it's editing. It's an absolute yes. I love putting everything together. It's always nice to see these hundreds of shots that create a 20-minute long episode to me. It's so nice, really. It's really time consuming, but I love it. I also love audio editing, because it makes me feel a little nostalgic, because, well, I used to have a YouTube channel with song covers, that's why. So, next question, do you ever experience writers or filmers block? How do you overcome it? Well, to be honest, I get it all the time. I'm currently writing episodes for season 2 of Quest. Yeah, I know, finally. I write one scene and then it's over, because I have no idea what's next. Dialogues are always my Achilles heel, so yeah. Luckily, I always make plot descriptions before writing the whole episode, so it helps a lot. Next question, what inspired you to first get into Machinima? So, it all started about 10 years ago, when I came across a Polish Sims 3 series called Dom, it means house in English. It was about a family that lived in a house shrouded in mystery. Initially it was a subtitled series, but later the author used a text-to-speech software for voiceover. And this series was a blast to me. It was so amazing that I got absorbed in this world. And here I am, 10 years later, with a bunch of Sims Machinima productions. For example, Quest, The Trickster, and some projects I'd rather not mention. Next question. If you had to merge your series with any other Sims 2, 3 or 4 series, which would you choose and why? Oh my god, that's a really interesting but such a difficult question. I don't know, I really don't know. If I had to choose one, I think, to be honest, I don't know how it will turn out. But Quest and World University by a Simmerboy. What if the murder of Vanessa Zhang was part of Quest? What if everyone secretly played this game? You know, when I think about it right now, I'm kinda laughing to myself, but I can't imagine how it would look like. But it's the only thing I see in my eyes right now. And the final question of my panel: do you have any other genres you wish to tackle in the future? So yeah, I do, and there's a lot of them. First of all, thanks to Dead by Daylight, I became a huge fan of Resident Evil, so creating something like this is my next dream, but I'm still looking for ideas. Besides, I have a fun surprise for everyone here on SMAC convention. It's a small teaser of my upcoming project, After the Trickster, and what's best about it? It's not a thriller. Guys, it's not a thriller. Let's see how I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be a really fun project to do, so before watching it, I wanna thank you so much for watching my director panel and enjoy the rest of the convention. Bye! And now we can watch it. Thank you.
You know me, I'ma keep it poppin' like a hit machine. You know me, I'ma put the fire on the gasoline. Get busy.
On our first day of SMAC 2023.
Be sure to join in tomorrow for another day full of even more drama.